October 2nd, 2024, Halfcast 569, episode 569. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we?
I love you.
Long Beach man, so much drama in the LBC, who bragged about crime on Instagram, pleads guilty to $2.6 million jewelry heist.
You'll probably remember it. It's the luxury jewelers of Beverly Hills. And you see all the suspects going in there, breaking into the glass and stealing what the federal government says was $2.6 million worth of jewelry out of the display case. Now, the person who agreed to that guilty plea today was, according to the DOJ, the getaway driver in all of this. He is actually down the street waiting in a car. The DOJ accuses him of leading the convoy after the smash and grab, in which more than 20 watches were stolen. Pat, part of the way they were able to find him is because, of course, he posted about it on social media.
How do you get caught taking glam photos for the gram like some sort of boss diva? See, everyone wants to be QB1. Nobody wants to run block. Your role didn't even include any smashing or grabbing, yet there you are, snapping it up for Policegram, for law enforcement's internet, like you single-handedly snatched the whole store off the rack, running promo. There's no instruction manual for how to commit the perfect crime. Well, not telling anyone will definitely give you a leg up. It'll at least give you a head start. But Liddell Tharp learned the hard way that he probably shouldn't have bragged about it on Instagram. Nor does it help when one of your crew leaves their phone at the scene of the crime like some sort of calling card. I don't know why people do that, why they take their phone and their IDs to go commit these robberies. Tharp, 39, of Long Beach, pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles Monday to taking part in a $2.6 million heist from a Beverly Hills jewelry store on March 23, 2022. That day, prosecutors said several masked suspects armed with crowbars walked into luxury jewels on South Beverly Drive during business hours, then smashed display cases and grabbed jewelry as store employees and customers watched.
The person who agreed to that guilty plea today was, according to the DOJ, the getaway driver in all of this. He is actually down the street waiting in a car. The DOJ accuses him of leading the convoy after the smash and grab, in which more than 20 watches were stolen.
At 39 years old, doing things that we expect to see from these teenagers or other dumbass youngins, putting your business out there all on Copstagram, chasing that social validation. We're talking almost $3 million here. You'd rather tell the whole world what you did other than give yourself the best possible chance to not get caught? The thieves made off with 19 bracelets, 7 pairs of earrings, 4 necklaces, a pair of obelisks, 8 rings and 20 watches. According to federal prosecutors, no partridge in a pear tree? Investigators say several clues at the scene and on social media led them to Tharp and multiple other suspects, including Jimmy Lee Vernon and Deshaun Bell. According to prosecutors, investigators recovered a mobile phone at the jewelry store that surveillance footage showed had fallen out of Vernon's pocket. Days later, Vernon told his probation officer that his phone number had changed. The robbery crew's brash smash and grab approach caught the attention of police in Long Beach, who contacted Beverly Hills to say they had a possible suspect, Tharp. What this particular article isn't telling you is that Tharp played absolutely no role in any smashing or grabbing of anything. He conducted what they call surveillance, or he was just a lookout. So basically, he was that guy on Belly that was in the basement drinking a 40 on the couch. Tharp's name was also linked to one of the getaway cars used in the robbery, just all over the place like pigeon poop. I'm starting to think they would have been a lot better off not taking him. Yo, you're still one of the homies. We still love you. You just can't go with us on this one. According to investigators, the license plate matched the vehicle that Tharp had rented at an Enterprise Rent-A-Car in Long Beach. Hours before the robbery, Tharp recorded a video of himself and his fellow robbery crew members, everyone say conviction, wearing the same clothes they were seen wearing in surveillance footage, but without their masks. Court documents show the same video shows Tharp walking up to a vehicle with tinted windows, which reflected his image. Prosecutor said the location was later linked to an address associated with Tharp. God damn. Now, the guy that dropped this phone, which I will never understand why people bring their phones and wallets when carrying out these type of deals, but it's not for me to understand. But that was an accident at the end of the day. This guy here, he has the Instagram photos, then he has the rent-a-car in his name, and on top of that, he's taking full videos with his co-defendants just hours before the robbery. Like, whose team are you playing for? The suspects even discuss specific details about the robbery over Instagram. Well, I guess all of them share an equal slice of the conviction cake. Then, weeks before the heist, Vernon and Tharp talked about what type of getaway car they would use and the brand of police scanner they would need to buy. Just doing too much. Days after the crime, prosecutor said Tharp posted a photo of stacks of cash on Instagram with the caption, "Robbery Gang." Tharp, who has been in federal custody since March 2023, is scheduled to be sentenced on January 6, 2025. He faces up to 20 years in prison. He is not going to get 20 years, not even close. Like Tharp, both Bell and Vernon pleaded guilty to one count of interference with commerce by robbery. Bell was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. That's why I'm telling you they are not going to get any time for this. In order to pay $2.6 million in restitution, that'll hurt though. According to court records, Vernon is scheduled to be sentenced in early December. There you have it, kids. Liddell Tharp apparently hyping up a near $3 million jewelry heist over social media doesn't go over well with law enforcement. Who knew? Tell me what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Next up, Utah wife arrested after telling informant she shot her estranged husband in his sleep.
Well, hey, we're at the police station now. Earlier, we were in that neighborhood where the family lived, and neighbors, understandably emotional. Now, I've been going through the documents today. This is the affidavit of probable cause, and it says that Jennifer Gledhill told a person who has been unidentified in this case that she shot and killed her husband and buried him in a shallow grave.
Real quick, what the hell is happening with Kristen, the news lady? Is she okay out there? Is she dehydrated? Is she nursing some sort of hangover? Could you have just this once put her on a different story instead of having her cover the national news tragedy on camera facing the sun, looking like she's going through the DTs? A Utah woman has been arrested for investigation of murder after she told a confidential informant that she shot her estranged husband in his sleep and buried him in a shallow grave, but did not disclose the location. Police said she knows who the confidential informant is because how many people did she really tell? Jennifer Gledhill, 41, of Cottonwood Heights, was arrested Wednesday and is jailed in Salt Lake County without bond. According to court records, the body of Matthew Johnson, 51, had not been found as of Thursday. Police said the Utah National Guard member was reportedly shot late September 20th or early September 21st. The informant told police September 28th, 6 days after Gledhill openly admitted to killing Johnson. Police records said Gledhill said she shot Johnson on the bed, buried his body, and removed items from the house and destroyed them to cover up the crime, the informant said.
Well, one neighbor that I spoke to told me that Matthew Johnson was a stand-up guy and a really good father. Even though the couple had been going through a divorce, Matt apparently told this neighbor, quote, "I don't wish any ill will on her." Still, police say it was the couple's differences that led to Matt's disappearance.
It's just one man's opinion because we really don't know what was going on behind closed doors. But if she shot that man in the bed, then that means he at least trusted that there was a line that she wouldn't cross. Even though the marriage was on the rocks and a divorce was underway, there was a clear, uneven level of animosity between the two of them in that household because this is just cold-blooded. Other court records indicate the couple was going through a contentious divorce and a custody dispute involving their 3 children. Gledhill, did she kill him while the kids were in the house? That's messed up if she did. Gledhill had obtained a temporary protective order against Johnson in late August, but a permanent order was denied September 16th, just days before the shooting. after the court commissioner watched videos that Gledhill had taken of arguments and reviewed text message exchanges between the two. Commissioner Russell Minas determined that no abuse had occurred. Gledhill was equally confrontational, Minas said, and seeking a restraining order appeared to be a litigation tactic. I knew it. She couldn't prove that he was abusing her. She just did it to make him look bad, and that is very nasty work in their pending divorce, which had been filed in July.
And Johnson worked with the Utah National Guard. He was in the military for 19 years. We have more details about this case and the timeline leading up to it on our website, KUTV.com. Live in Cottonwood Heights, Krista McPeak, KUTV2 News.
The spouse is normally the number one suspect until they're ruled out otherwise, but she is definitely diabolical. She's crafty and spiteful, tried to use the courts against him. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to withhold the location of the body in an attempt to leverage some sort of plea deal where she won't have to spend the rest of her life in prison. The conduct of parties over the past several months is representative of a highly dysfunctional marriage, bringing out the worst in the parties, clearly suggestive that an action for divorce should have been filed long before reaching the current state affairs. Minas wrote, Gledhill's attorneys in the restraining order and divorce cases declined to comment Thursday. No attorney is listed for her in court records. There you have it, folks. Jennifer Gledhill. Another story said the kids are currently staying with their grandparents, and I agree with the judge. This should never have gotten this far. Truly a tragedy. Tell me what you think. Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or DM me on any one of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, get yourself a monthly subscription, get access to more robust content, full episodes of this podcast, and featured music, or make a donation. My Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. Real quick, what the hell is happening with Kristen the news lady? Is she okay out there? Is she dehydrated? Is she nursing some sort of hangover? Could you have just this once put her on something else instead of this national news tragedy while she's on camera facing the sun looking like she's going through the DTs? September 14th, 2024. Halfcast 564, episode 564. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Voyeur and predator of the worst kind. Missouri mom sues cop for allegedly stealing nude selfies meant for husband during traffic stop.
A couple is suing a Florissant police officer accusing him of stealing nude photos from a woman's phone during a traffic stop. The couple says they were contacted by the FBI, who told them the officer shared explicit photos of the woman with others. She believes those photos were stolen back in February when she was pulled over by the unidentified officer.
Well, well, well. Florissant, Missouri has a population of a little over 52,000 people with an overall crime grade of a C+, which is not bad, except it leaves space open for more extracurricular activities, say a cop pursuing his own personal passions, patrolling for private parts pictures like a proper pervert. I know the front seat of that police cruiser would look shameful under a black light. A 24-year-old Missouri woman filed a $25,000 lawsuit Friday calling a local cop a sexual voyeur and predator of the worst kind over what she said was a traffic stop that turned into an invasion of privacy. I think she should have asked for more money. The harder you hit their pockets, the further up the chain this has to go. The plaintiffs in the lawsuit are identified only as Jane and John Doe, a married couple living in Florissant who have several children. They sued the Florissant Police Department and an officer identified only as Joe Smith, whose true identity they do not know. They don't want people on his doorstep, and who the department says is no longer employed as a police officer. Fired his ass. And we've been seeing this often in law enforcement. First name comes to mind, Sean Grayson. When they fire a cop, it's like getting cut from your favorite sports team. You can go play for another team. You can go be a problem at another precinct and continue that same pattern of terrible behavior. They're not revoking certifications. It's not even discipline. It's enabling, actually. According to the complaint, Smith runs amok in the city, victimizing people like Jane Doe, just a badge and a boner. The filing details a series of events that occurred in February 2024 when Smith pulled Jane Doe over for a traffic stop due to a broken taillight. The officer allegedly asked Doe if she had insurance, and curiously, Officer Smith told plaintiff that she needed to pull up proof of insurance on her phone and show it to him. Why does she have to have it on her phone? People still carry physical forms of insurance also. That is weird. Doe said that when she unlocked her phone to show her insurance, the officer abruptly took her phone back to his police vehicle without her consent, disconnected the Bluetooth connection with the woman's car, and remained in his car with the phone for more than 10 minutes. Ultimately, the lawsuit says Smith returned the phone and drove away without issuing a ticket. I would not want to touch that phone with my bare hands. The following July, Doe was contacted by the FBI and what she said was not a pleasant experience. Give that woman $1 million. That man's a goddamn savage. An ape in a policeman's uniform snatched her phone, scampered back to the cruiser, beat his nightstick for 10 minutes. He probably didn't run any plates, any insurance or registration, then came back like everything was all fine. Post-nut clarity. Agents asked Doe to identify a photograph of a naked woman that had been printed and enlarged. He went and got the photos blown up, y'all. You can't make this stuff up. According to the lawsuit, Doe was shocked to find that the photograph was of herself, and it was a photograph that she had only ever exchanged with her husband. According to the filing, the FBI alerted Doe that the picture of her was not the only explicit photo they discovered in Smith's possession. Doe asserted in the complaint that Smith scrolled through her phone, voyeuristically viewing naked photographs of both her and her husband in their intimate messages. What could you possibly get out of that? Then used his own phone to take pictures of Doe's pictures of to-go plate. Doe said that since the incident, she has been incredibly disturbed and suffered humiliation, severe emotional distress, and a shattering of her trust. There is no number that you could put on that, but I also know that that number would definitely start at a lot higher than $25,000. Plaintiffs have lost all faith in the Florissant police and grow nervous whenever they see an officer. Rightfully so. You don't want some random cop adding your photos to the spank bank, the filing said. Doe said that she has suffered severe anxiety as a result of the incident and has incurred related medical expenses. If you're in law enforcement and you put your badge on every day to genuinely protect people, to genuinely help people, this type of behavior from within your ranks is just as opposed to what you stand for as the common criminal. This makes your job harder. When people don't trust you, when people fear you, they're less cooperative, leading to more escalations. It's a cascading effect. It's a moral bankruptcy is what it is. Doe brought claims for invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, trespass to chattels, negligent hiring, negligent retention, negligent supervision, and negligent training, and requested $25,000 in damages. She needs more than 25 grand. The plaintiffs believe there might might be other victims, local CBS affiliate KMOB reported, and unfortunately there might be, because these type of people, these predators, they never get caught the first time. They only get caught after they get very comfortable. Prosecutors are also reportedly investigating to determine whether to bring criminal charges. What do you mean to determine whether to bring criminal charges? Why haven't they been brought already? There you have it, kids. Pervert, policeman, purloins, private pictures. Tell me what you ponder. Next up, JSO officer arrested, accused of kidnapping with a firearm, stalking, written threats to kill.
Brian Housand was arrested today for armed kidnapping with a firearm, a first-degree felony, punishable by life in prison. Written threats to kill, a second-degree felony, punishable by 15 years in prison. And aggravated stalking, a third-degree felony, punishable by 5 years in prison.
Hang tight, kids, because just this year alone so far, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has arrested 13 of their own officers, and there's still a whole lot of 2024 left to go. It'll be fascinating to see what they come up with to fill in these roster spots. Will they hire crossing guards? Will they hire disgraced police officers who've been fired from other precincts? Like that's the trend that's happening all across the country. They're literally out here out criminaling the criminals. Oh, thuggin' ass police. An officer with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Duval, was arrested Thursday in Nassau County and accused of multiple charges, including kidnapping with a firearm, written threats to kill or do bodily harm, and aggravated stalking. When did he have time to fight any crime? Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters held a news conference Thursday evening to announce the serious and deplorable charges against current JSO officer Brian Housand, 42. I wanted to be clear that this agency stands in solidarity with the victim of these horrible crimes, and I've said many times before, at least 13, right? No one is above the law. No one, Waters said.
Upon his arrest, JSO immediately suspended Housand of all of his police powers and placed him on leave without pay. While there is due process that must be followed, JSO will terminate Housand.
Jacksonville proper has a crime rate that's 17% higher than the national average, making them safer than only 24% of other cities in the United States, while Duval County as a whole is in the 29th percentile, meaning that if I blindfolded you and gave you a dart to throw at a map of the United States, there's a 71% chance that dart would hit somewhere safer than Duval County. And I'm saying that because you would think that these type of mental episodes, these type of breaks will come from emotional stress of policing rough streets. No, they come from relationships. They come from these police officers going home and terrorizing their partners, and it leaks out in one way, shape, or form. The arrest of the officer marks the 13th employee of the agency to be arrested in 2024. That's enough for a basketball team. You could start a traveling league in prison. The Jacksonville jail cops. Waters said Housand was suspended and put on leave without pay and will eventually be fired. The charge of armed kidnapping is a first-degree felony punishable by life in prison. You're playing around in Florida. He was being held on a $1 million bond. Waters declined to share details of the case against Housand, saying any information would come from the investigating agency, the Nassau County Sheriff's Office. A heavily redacted arrest warrant for Housand made clear the charges involved a woman who he was previously in a relationship with. See, I told you, it's not the rigors of running the streets, enforcing the law. He crashed out over a relationship rut. His accuser told investigators Housand sent her threatening emails and messages. Brian, you threatened to kill me. It is reasonable that I should not take you back. It's more than reasonable. It's the safe thing to do. Saw you take the rifle out of the gun safe that night in February when you hurt me. You can't undo that. So you already hurt her. Then on top of that, you're going to pull a gun on her. Not a gun, a rifle. One email from the victim to Housand reads, one email. The woman said on Tuesday she saw what she believed to be a green laser shining into the window of her home and thought it was the kind of laser that could be attached to a gun. It could be. She said Housand has a large collection of guns that he owns for personal and professional use. Here's a pro tip. If the only way to contact your girlfriend is by email, then that's not your girlfriend. That means she forgot to block you off of that too. babygirlcakeslove@gmail.com should have blocked your email address when she got you off of social media and blocked your number and and everything else. You're done. In another incident in July, wait, there's another one? We get a bonus round? The woman said Housen came to her house uninvited in his marked JSO patrol car wearing his uniform and began banging on the back door. It wasn't me. After an argument, when the woman refused to get back with him, Housen threatened to kill her and was snapping and unsnapping the holster, carrying his service pistol in an overtly threatening manner. She told investigators the woman was able to record the incident on her phone, according to the warrant. Housen was originally hired by JSO in 2005, and since that date, Waters said he left JSO to work for other agencies and was then rehired on 2 separate occasions. I would love to know what were the circumstances around that, or were they just clean transfers? At one point, Housen became a lawyer and is still a member of the Florida Bar. Yeah, he's going to need that. Me personally, I think it's pretty cool that a cop can be a lawyer and practice law at the same time. That means you have a reverence for the law. That means you're a student of the law. But this guy just gives a different vibe. Like he only learned the law to learn how to skirt the law. So I guess there will always be those two. Waters said Housen was involved in a few situations with internal affairs. I don't doubt that. That didn't rise to the level of termination, but did not give details on those complaints. There you have it, folks. Brian Housen. Let me know what you think. If you like these type of stories the way I like these type of stories, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Next up, Illinois woman allegedly fights elementary school principal after dropping baggies of cocaine.
Police were called after 9:30 Wednesday morning to Welsh School. According to court documents, when Shakita Barfield was in a meeting with the principal, a couple bags of cocaine fell out of her pocket. After a confrontation, Barfield allegedly hit, bit, and strangled the principal with his tie.
Let me tell you something real quick. Birds fly, fish swim, Shakita's fight. I don't make the rules. That's just how it is. She grabbed him by his necktie. There is nothing more Shakita than that. I'm not saying the principal shouldn't have done his job. He shouldn't have did what he had to do. I'm just saying when you got a Shakita in the room, your head got to be on a swivel. A woman has been arrested in Illinois after allegedly fighting with the principal of an elementary school who had told her during a meeting that police would be called because she dropped baggies of cocaine. Reports said, whatever happened to putting the drugs in your sock like a decent human being? The incident involving Shakita Barfield happened on Wednesday morning at Welsh Elementary School in Rockford, according to WIFR. The station, citing police, says Barfield was at the school for a meeting with the principal when she allegedly dropped baggies of suspected cocaine. When the principal picked the baggies up, that's where you messed up at. Barfield reportedly became upset when she was told the police would be called to the scene. See, when you say baggies, I immediately get the impression that she's not using the coke, she's selling the coke. But the way she teed off on him after he touched her product, it gives me the impression that she might have a more personal relationship with the white. And I'm making light of this for entertainment purposes, but in all actuality, this is pretty damn bad. The 33-year-old is accused of punching the principal several times in the face, scratching his face and arms, biting him, and using his tie to strangle him. That's a Shakita. She is now facing charges including possession of a controlled substance, aggravated battery to a school employee, and disorderly conduct, according to media reports. As of Saturday, Barfield is being held without bond at the Winnebago County Jail. Records show it's no use crying over spilled coke, Shakita. What about the child that she went up there for in the first place? It's only September. She's beating the principal up and school just started. You don't think the principal is going to feel some type of way? Let's be honest with each other. Joe Clark would have whooped her ass, would have knocked Shakita smooth out, picked her up and told her, you smoke crack, don't you? It's not immediately clear what the meeting was about. Funny how that tends to happen when hands get involved. As the brawl was unfolding, the school was temporarily placed on lockdown. Dramatic. According to WIFR, the principal reportedly suffered non-life-threatening injuries during the incident. The Winnebago County Sheriff's Office did did not immediately respond to a request for comment Saturday by Fox News Digital. There you have it, kids. Shakita Barfield. What do you think? Was she selling the drugs or was she using the drugs? Let me know in the comments. If you like these type of stories the way I like these type of stories, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know. Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or DM me on any one of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, get yourself a monthly subscription, get access to more robust content, full episodes of this podcast, and featured music, or make a donation. My Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois.
You just threw our love away. And all of the things I've done for you, did they mean anything? Did they mean anything? Oh, 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 oh.
Let me tell you something real quick. Birds fly, fish swim, and Shakita's fight. I don't make the rules. That's what Shakita's do. She grabbed him by his necktie. There is nothing more Shakita than that. August 26, 2024, Halfcast 559, episode 559. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? U.S. Border Patrol agent told women to show them their breasts to get into country. Great work letting all the bad actors know that they've been really leaving money on the table with us for their smuggling operations. They've been doing it ass backwards. If you want to get over maximum drugs, maximum terrorists, maximum criminals, all you have to do is send the boobs over first. That way Border Patrol will be so distracted they won't care what comes in after that. Have any of you noticed that every time there's a problem with law enforcement, every time it's always either their guns or their dicks? They can't wait to grab either one. A U.S. Border Patrol agent has been charged after being accused of ordering women to show him their breasts during the admissions process to enter the country. Federal authorities said Shane Milan, 53, was charged with 4 misdemeanor counts of deprivation of rights under color of law. Federal prosecutors in the Northern District of New York announced Thursday in a news release he willfully deprived 4 different women of their constitutional right to be free from unreasonable searches, the prosecutor said. During virtual processing concerning their admission into the U.S., Milan told 3 women to expose their bare chest to him over webcam and a 4th woman to unveil her breast to him while her bra remained on, according to the prosecutors. You do know there's lots of ways to look at boobs legally and sometimes for free without jeopardizing national security, losing your job, or catching a criminal charge, but you don't want that, right? There's no fun in that for you, just sitting at your office in a remote location staring at the camera with your bottle of lotion and your box of napkins. You've done your country proud. Milan made the demands for his own gratification. Gratification is a funny word. He was gratifying the hell out of himself and lied to the women by saying he was conducting legitimate searches. Prosecutors said he's like a filthy road manager trying to get girls backstage. After being arraigned Thursday in Syracuse, Milan was released pending a trial. USA Today contacted Milan's defense attorney with the Federal Public Defender's Office on Friday, but has not received a response. In a statement emailed to USA Today, the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol said maintaining the public's trust is vital to our mission. CBP does not tolerate misconduct within our ranks. When we discover any alleged or potential misconduct, we immediately refer it for investigation and cooperate fully with any criminal or administrative investigations. This is the case whether the alleged misconduct occurs on or off duty. Investigations are conducted thoroughly and with proper oversight, ensuring that appropriate action can be taken if and as needed, including working with law enforcement authorities. The statement continued, consistent with our commitment to transparency, we make reports public whenever possible with legal and privacy constraints. U.S. Customs Border Patrol, a lot of these people are only re-entering the country. They're legitimate American citizens from vacation or work trips, something of that nature. Then you have people who have never been to America before, and this is their first experience. It's not a good look. What do you think, though? Shane Milan, 3 Mardi Gras and a Jerry Springer. Next up. Indiana man tried to kill wife by poisoning her with cocaine, MDMA, so he could marry her daughter. Poisoning your wife in an attempt to marry your stepdaughter is extremely Midwestern. I bet you had your wedding casserole picked out already and everything. Oh, America's breadbasket getting hitched in the heartland. A little bumpkin betrothal. What makes it so bad is you gave your wife Molly, of all things. Not only may you have added a few years to her life, you could have quite possibly created the biggest party animal in Indiana. An Indiana man has admitted he tried to kill his wife by poisoning her Coca-Cola with cocaine, put the cocaine back in Coca-Cola, MDMA, and benzodiazepines so he could marry her daughter, authorities said. Alfred W. Rupp, 71, a little late in the game, right? Cop to lacing his spouse's drink roughly a dozen times in Richmond in late 2021 as part of the twisted plan to run off with his stepdaughter, Fox 59 reported. Ruff, who pleaded guilty in Wayne County Court on Monday, told cops his stepdaughter and one of her friends had allegedly convinced him to go ahead with the plot and provided him with the drugs to sprinkle in his wife's drinks. His stepdaughter has to be some sort of hound or beast that walks upright and passes for a human being. That's the only way I can picture it. He claimed his wife's daughter wanted to get mom out of the picture so they could cash in on her life insurance policy, and she had promised to marry him after they took care of the wife, according to court documents. You didn't have to go along with this. You know that, right? I mean, if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story. You couldn't have been that hard to convince. And look at it like this. The same way you get him is the same way you lose him. After she used you to get rid of Mom Dukes, who do you think is going to be next? The husband admitted to poisoning his wife's drink about 12 different times between September and December 2021. Rupp stated that he knew the substance would eventually kill his wife and that it was the ultimate goal to kill her. The court paper said each time the concoction of substances would knock the wife out for roughly 13 hours, court filings charge. Ruff told cops that his stepdaughter and her friend would then allegedly come to the home while her wife was under the influence and have sex with him. A little Hoosier hootenanny. He was eventually nabbed after the wife contacted police in early 2022 to say she'd been hospitalized 6 times in a matter of weeks and tested positive for drugs she hadn't taken. It sounds like she was going through withdrawal symptoms from the drugs. It could have been worse. She could have really OD'd in this situation, which I think that's what they were planning on in the first place. What do you think they were giving the old man, though? You think they weren't putting a little something in his denture cup to keep him stimulated and motivated? Hell, do you think they weren't doing a little Molly and cocaine themselves to keep up the nerve to sleep with this nasty old buzzard? She had gone to the hospital after experiencing unexplained headaches, drowsiness, diarrhea, and other symptoms. Subsequent tests showed traces of cocaine, MDMA, and the antidepressants in her system. system. She was able to provide cops with one of the coke cans she had drunk from that had traces of an off-white residue inside. When cops took Ruff into custody, they said they were probing the allegations leveled against the stepdaughter and her friend, but no arrests have been made. I don't know how I feel about that. Ruff, meanwhile, was sentenced on Monday to 4 years in prison. 4 years after pleading guilty to aggravated battery posing a risk of death. A conspiracy to commit murder charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. There you have it, kids. Alfred W. Ruff. What do you think? Do you think the stepdaughter and her friend should have been a bigger part of this investigation from the rip? Do you think he should have gotten more than 4 years? Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or DM me on any one of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, get yourself a monthly subscription, get access to more robust content, full episodes of this podcast and featured music, or make a donation. My Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. Am I the only one noticing that every time there's a problem with law enforcement, it's either their guns or their dicks? They can't wait to grab either one. Some would say they're overcompensating, but that's neither here nor there. Now the bad actors really know how to get the most out of their smuggling operations. See, they were messing up, leaving money on the table, sending the tits last. They got to send the boobs first, get a good distraction going. That way they could really maximize smuggling. Gee, thanks. August 19th, 2024, Halfcast 557, episode 557. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Texas woman spent $900,000 of stolen money in attempt to become TikTok influencer.
Prosecutors say a North Texas woman stole more than $1 million and spent most of it on TikTok in an attempt to boost her presence on social media. This week, a Tarrant County judge sentenced Stacey Blackman to 35 years in prison. Prosecutors say she also used stolen funds on other lavish expenses.
Yeah, she's a moron. Oh, dummiest of dummies. What, you thought I would be understanding of her aspirations because I make videos too? You don't pay someone to watch them live your dream. You take the money and scamper. Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you. Nope. A Texas woman with dreams of social media stardom was sentenced to 35 years in prison. You made the big time now, babe. After a crime spree that started years ago, Stacey Blackman pleaded guilty to stealing $1.2 million from her former employer, a high-end home building company in South Lake. Sounds like you had a good job. Throw it all away. The Tarrant County District Attorney's Office says in 2019, Blackman began to use a bank account of a senior partner who unexpectedly passed away, was weekend at Bernieing his money. Stacey Blackman actually befriended the heir of this senior partner and was helping her figure out where all he had accounts and all of this. Yes, that's exactly how the statement is worded. And so she was literally walking through this with the person she was victimizing said Tarrant County Assistant District Attorney Lori Varnell. So you're already a backstabbing con artist. That's half of being an influencer anyway. But you had all of them beat. You had already gotten to the money. All you had to do was just lay low. You out here hustling ass backwards, Stacey. That bread was supposed to come in and never go out. You could be an influencer for free, damn it. Blackman used a company credit card to send nearly $900,000 through PayPal to TikTok. PayPal? You didn't attempt to wash it a little bit, put it in the blockchain, use a little Bitcoin, spread it around a little bit? No, she was using that bank account that had his life savings in it to pay that credit card, explained Varnell. So why TikTok? Prosecutors say Blackman was using the money to tip social media influencers on live streams in hopes of building her own following. I don't know where she got that from. Blackman also purchased a suite for Dallas Mavericks games, lavish trips, and more. She was living a dream. She didn't buy any assets. She didn't put the money anywhere and had nothing to offer to pay back. Damn, that was comparable to the amount that she stole, said Varnell. She went ahead and stole another $400,000 from the business as well. I mean, while I got the books open.
She didn't buy any assets. She didn't put the money anywhere and had nothing to offer to pay back.
I highly doubt she'll do the whole 35 years. I don't even think she'll do half of it, but it's still a long ass time to go to jail and have nothing to show for it but a good time. Me personally, if I got the balls to steal that much money, I'm going to also have the brains to put a little in the floorboards, bury a little bit under the tree, something. Blackman's employer ultimately caught on to the theft, because it's a paper trail. It's an electronic paper trail, but it's still a paper trail nonetheless, which led the company down a rabbit hole, realizing the theft had been going on for several years. Blackman was indicted in 2022. She is extremely intelligent. She only ever graduated from high school, but that is no measure of how intelligent you are or how good you are at figuring out how to hide money, and she is very good at that, Varnell said. Blackman was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Court documents reveal she plans to appeal the sentence. There you have it, kids. Stacey Blackman, and a definite cautionary tale to not want to chase fame so much that you end up sticking your neck out there. If you're a TikTok influencer and you took one nickel of that woman's money, you need to give her a shout out, a free Stacey, write her a note, put some money on her books, get her some soups or something. Next up, state senator breathing heavy and touching himself, arrested for indecent exposure in video gaming room of cigarette and beer shop. Very classy. I blame prostitution myself. Where was his handler? Since when, as a senator, ever had to pump his own well water? Politicians and hookers go together like sugar and grits. You leave them to their own vices, you leave them to their own devices, and this is what happens. A horn dog in a public establishment giving himself the old Appalachian slow dance. West Virginia Senator Mike Maroney, 56, has been arrested after police say he was caught breathing heavy while committing an overt act of sexual gratification. That means he was beating his meat inside the video lottery room of Gumby's Cigarette and Beer World in Glendale. The incident occurred during the afternoon of August 4th, although Maroney was not arrested until Tuesday, according to a criminal complaint obtained by Law and Crime on Thursday. Police said when they arrived at Gumby's, they spoke to two female staff on duty who stated that Maroney was in the back room on a gaming machine, but that he had come out to the ATM machine and was breathing heavy and was touching himself. Unsure as to what was going on, they started to observe him on the CCTV. In doing so, they witnessed him masturbating. The complaint stated, smart move. You don't want to get too close to him. Go to the surveillance. Sounds like he was about to give himself a heart attack, ragdolling his genitals. He didn't care who was watching. The only way to stop him would have been to spritz cold water on his nose like he was a house cat misbehaving. At 56 years old, you've had 40 some odd years at least to learn the etiquette and the nuances to whacking off. You never unsheath your sword in public, and here he goes throwing out his training in one fell splooge. Prosecutors say that when one of the women called police at her supervisor's behest, she told the dispatcher Maroney was doing it right now in real time. What if the dispatcher told her don't make eye contact with him no matter what? Officers said when they approached Maroney and found him in front of one of the poker machines and asked what he was doing. You know what he's doing. Maroney stated that he was playing the machine. mean, that was an honest answer, honestly. I advised him that the attendants had witnessed him masturbating. He got defensive and advised he hadn't. No, I didn't. And advised him they have cameras all over, had seen him on camera. He still denied his actions and stated he'd just leave. He asked if he could finish his current game. I think we're done here, sir. He finished what he was doing and left the establishment. A police affidavit underlying the criminal complaint states, police noted that the real area Maroney was found in was not a secure area. I kind of figured that because they sell mostly beer and cigarettes. So the assumption is if you're old enough to buy beer and cigarettes, then you should be old enough to gamble. It makes sense, meaning anyone wanting to play the machines could have walked in to do so. Maroney was followed out of the lobby after he left. Staff showed police video. How many times did they play that back? Do you have any idea how many influential people this man has been in a room with? How many hands he's shaken immediately after getting the butter from the duck? Hell, he's shaking the president's hand. I see nothing but fist bumps in his future as a politician. There were numerous times where he would put his hands in his pants and begin to masturbate at approximately 1:04 p.m. This is early in the afternoon in a public establishment. It was very evident that Mr. Maroney was in the act of masturbating. The affidavit notes, West Virginia indecent exposure laws prohibit engaging in any overt act of sexual gratification. Both of the staffers at Gumby's were visibly shaken and upset by what they had witnessed. The report continued. Maroney's charges were brought by Marshall County Prosecutor Joe Canestraro. This is not the Republican legislator's first time finding himself on the wrong side of the law. Gee, what a shock. As Law and Crime previously reported, he was charged in August 2019 with seeking the services of a sex worker. See, I told you it was a prostitute's fault. If a prostitute was there in this tough spot, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Those charges were eventually dropped due to a lack of evidence after a 19-month probe, according to the Intelligencer. Maroney lashed out after charges were dropped, calling the case against him politically motivated. For these latest charges, which include indecent exposure and disorderly conduct, Maroney was briefly detained at the Northern Regional Correctional Facility and Jail at Moundsville, West Virginia. He was released on a $3,500 personal recognizance bond, according to West Virginia Metro News. It is unclear when he will appear in court next. I don't know when his court date is, but I'm pretty sure they'll tell him to wear rubber gloves. So what, was he gun shy after getting caught looking for that prostitute the first time and decided to take matters into his own hands? You can't live your life like that. You see what happens? You terrified these two women. They thought you were having a stroke, but you were over there pulling on your own slot machine handle. In a statement released on August 14th, West Virginia Senate President Craig Blair said he was deeply concerned for Maroney, calling him our friend and colleague, in order to give him appropriate time to dedicate to his personal issues. Blair also announced that he was stripping Maroney of his role as chairman of West Virginia Senate Committee on Health and Human Resources. Damn! Blair said Maroney was relieved. That's a very funny word to use in this context, of all other committee responsibilities as well. And he's not the only politician to do something untoward like this, like sending dick pics or something else weird. He's just the newest one. It's not right. It's very wrong, but this too will pass. While the charges are still under investigation, if true, this allegation is obviously not up to the standard of what we expect from our elected leaders in the state Senate of West Virginia, Blair said. There you have it, folks. Mike Maroney, Senator Mike Maroney. The next time you sit out a video slot, you better have your Lysol wipes handy. Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or DM me on any one of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, consider a monthly subscription. Get access to more robust content, full episodes, and featured music, or make a donation. My Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. He was fully committed. He was fully invested. He was locked in. Where you might see him, where the whole outside world might see him and what he's doing, he doesn't see anyone. He's in his own little playland for the time being. The only way you could have stopped him is if you would have spritzed water on his nose like he was a naughty house cat. Who voted for this guy? At 56 years old, you've had some... July 24th, 2024, Halfcast 551, episode 551. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Estranged Nevada wife allegedly guns down husband with mom's help, then tells him, "I'm sorry, I love you." See, this is the problem with relationships today. What is anyone supposed to do with an apology and a profession of your love only after you've mortally wounded them? You're sending mixed signals. Dial 911, you idiot. Now, I've heard of people saying don't wait until someone dies to tell them that you love them, but this is different. That doesn't mean go out there and be the cause of their death. A bloodthirsty wife, I love the New York Post, and her mother are accused of teaming up to gun down the younger woman's husband at an Idaho campground. Police said neither one of them looked like the younger woman, and that is hilarious. An act they likened to putting a dog down to save livestock. Melissa Faye Columpet, 35, allegedly lured her twice estranged husband, 37-year-old Travis Haywood Columpet, on July 12th for what the victim thought was the first step in rekindling their storied romance. According to an arrest affidavit, fell for the old "let's get back together" hunt. Travis Columpet was found face down, feet toward the river, with blood near his left side and a gunshot wound to the chest at Martin's Landing, a 60-acre campsite near the Snake River and Oregon border. The document reads, earlier that day, Travis told his stepfather that he had plans to meet with his estranged wife at the campgrounds in the hopes that they would reconcile their relationship and go camping together over the weekend. Instead, Melissa Columpet allegedly walked the father of her 3 children to a secluded spot and killed him as part of her mother, Rosalie Lynn Morris's plan. And there's been little pockets of conversations online about what people think someone should look like at a certain age, and it's clearly subjective, but she looks like a rough 35. She looks like a hard to swallow 35. Aside from looking extremely unsettling, she looks like lightning struck a tree stump. She looks like one of those portraits where the eyes follow you around the room at all times. She looks like Pac-Man, but with a mullet. Police suspected the new widow after they conducted a phone interview with her in which she made several statements during the investigation that were both incriminating, inconsistent with the evidence, and led investigators to believe that she had intimate knowledge of details of the homicide that were not known to the public. The spouse is always going to be the number one suspect until the authorities can prove otherwise. Melissa Columpet initially denied any involvement, claiming she and her mother had gone on a drive in their home state of Nevada, but changed her tune when cops showed the pair dash cam video from Travis Columpet's car of his estranged wife at the scene. Gotcha. She admitted she killed her husband, the affidavit states, but first tried, claiming she acted in self-defense after he raped her at the campsite. That sounds shady. It doesn't sound impossible, but it definitely sounds shady. The alleged gunwoman said they had been married and divorced before, later remarrying and separating again due to Travis Columpet's serial abuse. So was he really abusing her, or is she just saying this to try to get off the hook? Her story changed several times. She ultimately said she had the .380 pistol in her pocket, hit Travis in the head with a rock, and shot him when he charged her. The document reads, in one version of events, Melissa stated Travis took her gun and racked a round into the chamber. She did not make any statements that indicated Travis threatened her with the gun. I don't know if he was abusing her in the past. It's definitely not impossible, but what happened in the past doesn't matter. All that matters is that you called this man over to so-called talk, and he ended up dead. Now, if I'm an investigator, that reeks of premeditated murder. Moore seemingly tried to save her daughter by suggesting the murder was her idea. Per the arrest affidavit, she allegedly told police she hosted a family meeting at her home the day before the bloodshed, attended by 2 other unnamed adults. This is premeditated murder, where they conspired about out how to get rid of Travis for good. Now, was Travis still putting his hands on her even though they were separated? Because if he wasn't, if they were kind of in their separate corners doing their own thing, then the time to teach him a lesson, not necessarily kill him, but teach him a lesson for putting his hands on his wife, it kind of passed, right? They're late. She said she searched around for an unregistered firearm to use in the murder, and she planned to do it herself. However, Melissa wanted to come along, the affidavit reads. Rosalie believed Melissa killed Travis so that Rosalie would not get in trouble. According to the mother, Morris was hiding in an outhouse an hour after Melissa and Travis Columpet met up together when she heard them both yell and a gunshot rang out. Melissa Columpet had hit Travis Columpet with a rock and knocked him silly, prompting him to lunge at his wife before she pulled the trigger, according to Morris's side of events. Rosalie described Travis as an abusive drug addict with mental health issues, police allege. Rosalie said she decided she had to kill Travis and compared it to putting a dog down to save livestock. The mother-daughter pair then allegedly took off, stopping along the way to dump the gun and Travis Columpet's cell phone in a reservoir. What I would like to know, what got me curious, is if the alleged abuse was taking place all the way up until recently, or if this was a situation where they all gathered around a campfire and decided that he needed to pay for the things that he's done in the past. There's a big difference in that to me. The cold-blooded wife stuck around long enough, however, to hear her dying husband's final words, "You bitch." That's the only word that fits in that situation. Melissa said after she shot Travis, he asked her why, and she said, "I'm sorry. I love you. You sure have a funny way of showing it." The documents state Melissa Columpet and Morris each face one count of first-degree murder and destruction of evidence. Morris also faces liability for murder based on an aiding and abetting theory. They are both being held on a $2 million bond. There you have it, kids. Melissa Columpet. If your girlfriend ever invites you over to reconcile your relationship, make sure you check under her bed for that woman. Next up, deputy accused in shooting death of Sonia Massey worked for 6 agencies in 4 years. Records show Sean Grayson is the Sangamon County deputy that fatally shot Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old black woman, when responding to a call that she put in that she was fearful someone might be lurking around her home. She was afraid. Now, Grayson, prior to any law enforcement, had been discharged from the military for what was listed as serious misconduct. Now, it wasn't a dishonorable discharge, but it was still more than enough to at least raise a red flag to anyone looking to hire him to be a deputy or a police officer, yet somehow he slipped in. The terminated Sangamon County Sheriff's Office deputy involved in the shooting death of a woman who called for 911 assistance worked at 6 different law enforcement agencies in the last 4 years. State records obtained by WGN's Next Star sister station show. Since August of 2020, Sean Grayson worked less than 1 year at the Auburn Police Department, 1 year at the Logan County Sheriff's Office, and then just over a year with the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office. The records obtained by WCIA show he was also employed with police departments in Burton, Kincaid, and Pawnee. Are you that desperate for manpower that you keep picking this guy up, this same guy? Grayson was arrested twice for Class A misdemeanor DUIs, once in 2015 and once in 2016. Think about it like this. If you had a doctor, better yet, if you had a surgeon that worked for 6 hospitals in 4 years, would you trust them to operate on you? If you had a teacher that handled small children that worked for 6 schools in 4 years, would you trust them around your kids? If you had an engineer that worked for 6 agencies in 4 years, would you trust them to build a bridge in your city? So why would you have a cop that was clearly a liability from day one walking in? Why would you have him within your ranks skipping from house to house? There was all these red flags, and yet they still made him a deputy in Sangamon County, said James Wilburn, the father of Sonia Massey. Absolutely. Despite the liability, various agencies across the country are openly searching, they are openly hiring these junk cops, these scrap policemen, these broken deputies. Termination, no problem. Resignation, no problem. Our doors are wide open. Massey, 36, was killed in the early morning hours of July 6 after she called 911 to report a suspected prowler. She was scared. In body cam footage showing her final moments, Massey ducked and apologized to Grayson seconds before he shot the black woman 3 times in her home. "You coward." With with one fatal blow to the head. An Illinois grand jury indicted Grayson, 30, who was white. Last week, he has pleaded not guilty to charges of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. You were caught in high definition murdering a defenseless black woman in her own home. She only called because she was afraid. She actually felt better when you showed up, let you in. She trusted you. Pleading not guilty is nothing but extra disrespect to that woman and her family, you sorry bastard. The Sangamon County Sheriff's Office acknowledged to WCIA it knew about Grayson's 2 DUIs when it hired him. The county conducts criminal background checks on all employees before hiring them. What kind of background checks? The free trial versions. But the Sheriff's Office told WCIA it was not aware of any complaints of excessive force during Grayson's previous stints in law enforcement. It's easy to not be aware when you're not looking because you don't want to know, because knowing is a liability, but claiming that you don't know should not get you off the hook in this situation. WCIA says it has multiple Freedom of Information Act requests out to Grayson's previous employers for more information on his departures from previous jobs. According to WCIA, state records show he resigned and started new jobs shortly after leaving previous ones, sometimes the next day. Sangamon County Sheriff's Office, the people that hired this inbred mongoloid, are just as responsible for what took place, and claiming that you didn't know is not an excuse to get you off the hook for what this man did. County officials told WCIA that to their knowledge is a BS 3-word disclaimer. Grayson had not been fired from previous jobs. There's something to that. I'll let you know in a second. Grayson was fired from his job last week and is being held in the Sangamon County Jail without bond. If convicted, he faces prison sentences of 45 years to life for murder, 6 to 30 years for battery, and 2 to 5 years for misconduct. How many of you think within 6 months he'll tie a bedsheet around his neck and bungee jump? This is what I think. I really don't know. I'm not in law enforcement, but if you have officers within your ranks that are committing these type of infractions, it would be easier to tender their resignation and have some higher ups accept their resignation internally than to have a bunch of these reports in your file. You can go on ahead and be someone else's problem. What do you think? Fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you are a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or shoot me a DM on any of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscriptions start at $2.99 a month. Get access to all my content. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. You were caught in high definition murdering a defenseless black woman in her own home. This is what listening to other people about your relationship can lead to. Where is her mother's husband? She doesn't have a man of her own to kill? A bloodthirsty wife and her mother are accused of teaming up to gun down the younger woman's husband. Which one is the younger woman? Because they both look like old tree stumps. July 15th, 2024. Halfcast 549. Episode 549. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? gunman crawled up on a nearby roof before shooting at Trump, witnesses say.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely.
You want to know what's fascinating? That this wasn't hard to come by information pieced together by the diligent efforts of a fact-finding organization. This was actionable intelligence delivered to us by a sweaty bumpkin wearing a Trump 2024 visor. Oh, some heads are going to roll. Then you have the Secret Service already passing the blame to the police. It's both their fault. They both dropped the ball. Whatever happened to overlapping security measures and redundancies? Maybe there wasn't any police on the roof because there wasn't any ass up there. If there was ass on the roof, they would have been all over it. A witness has described the unfathomable security lapse that led up to the apparent assassination attempt on Donald Trump at a rally Saturday evening, saying he repeatedly tried to alert cops to the existence of a rifle-wielding man on a rooftop just outside the event. The witness, identified only as Greg, told the BBC that he was having a party outside the rally and was planning to walk up to a nearby field and listen to Trump when he started speaking. But as he was walking up about 5 minutes into Trump's speech, we noticed a guy bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. The man clearly had a rifle, Greg said, so we started trying to alert nearby cops and Secret Service agents who were stationed on the ground and on the roof of a barn. There's been a ton of interviews with ex-military and ex-intelligence, and a particular one that I was watching went on to say that the rifle was well within the range to land a fatal shot to Trump without a scope, with only moderate training. And I think that's a hell of a thing to leave up the chance if the other guy is good enough to hit his mark. Now, what I would like to know is if they could have taken this guy alive, did they have to kill him? Because now we have no intelligence and we have no interrogation. We're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof. The police are down there running on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh? Right? They didn't know what was going on. Greg said his group kept trying to flag down law enforcement with little success. Next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at the gunman for, 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes in that scenario is a lifetime. The Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at the roof, just standing here like this. Next thing you know, 5 shots came out. Greg estimated the shooter was on the roof in plain view for at least 3 or 4 minutes before opening fire. This is a lifetime of time here. He said it's possible that the agents on top of the barn and on the ground couldn't see the man because of the slope of the roof. Why aren't there Secret Service on all the roofs, he asked, seeming incredulous. This is not a big place. That is a very good question, Greg. You want to talk about terrible optics? This man's eyewitness account just might single-handedly make the way they handled this look worse than the assassination attempt itself. After shots were fired, Secret Service agents blew the shooter's head off. Greg said some 20-year-old dork that came out on the wrong side of puberty that wasn't popular in high school. Footage circulating on social media from other witnesses corroborated Greg's account, showing the suspected shooter lying motionless on the roof. The Butler County District Attorney confirmed to the Associated Press that one person attending the rally was killed along with the shooter. That's terrible in itself. Trump appeared to be hit in the ear by an unknown object as he was speaking and was whisked away by Secret Service agents with blood dipping from his right ear. He was taken to a medical facility to be checked but was fine, his spokesperson said. And no one was trying to prioritize getting any information or any answers from this guy. That's like 3-4 L's in one outing, from preparation to security to intelligence, all the way down to boots on the ground response. Next up. Woman paid 2 people to steal man's cell phone at gunpoint because it had proof of her infidelities. There's a difference between cheating and infidelity. Infidelity is a complete loss of respect for your relationship and the commitment you made to your partner. Cheating is only a symptom of infidelity. If you're cheating, then that means the relationship has been circling the drain for a while now. So my question is, why would you care if some footage seen the light of day? Why would you go to extreme lengths to keep this buried? What was so freaky that was on that phone, and would you mind doing it again? A woman in Texas paid two men $100. Is that $200 or $50 a piece to steal a man's cell phone at gunpoint because the phone contained proof of her infidelities, authorities said. The case came to light on June 25th. Deputies from the Cameron County Sheriff's Office responded to the 2300 block of Magdalena Avenue in Brownsville about an aggravated robbery, authorities said in a news release. Brownsville is near the U.S.-Mexico border, near the Gulf of Mexico. Thanks for the geography. Once there, deputies learned two men had taken a man's cell phone at gunpoint, officials said. One of the men put a gun to the victim's head while demanding the phone for $100, then fired a round toward the ground to scare him before both suspects fled with the phone, officials said. In 2024, you shouldn't even put your shiesty on for $100, let alone aim a gun at someone and fire off a round for $100. Hell, they robbed that man like they were the ones in the phone taking part in the infidelities. You could have paid that man $100 to delete the footage, and then you might say, Avery, hey, it could still be in the cloud, the videos or the pictures, whatever it is. Well, the only absolute fix for this was to never have done it in the first place. I'm just saying, I'm not the one in the camera. You might have to figure this one out on your own, sis. Authorities quickly identified the suspects as Juan Carlos Mexias, who was arrested that day, and Brian Rodriguez, who was arrested 2 days later. Damn, that didn't take long at all. It almost seems like that was a dumb idea. Details about who fired the gun and what role each suspect played in the stick-up were not disclosed. Rodriguez and Mexias were booked into the Cameron County Jail. Rodriguez faces charges of aggravated robbery and possession of a controlled substance. His bond was set at $103,000. I don't think that $100 is going to cover it. Mexias faces charges of aggravated robbery and remains held on $50,000 bond. For those of you that don't know, good, I'll tell you so you won't have to find out, but it costs money to get locked up. There's a booking and processing fee. Here in Middlesex County, it's $75 a pop. In Cameron County, it's $15. I was surprised to see that, but they had $100 between the two of them. That should cover their booking and processing for a few trips at least. 2 days after that arrest, officials said investigators learned about the plot, who was allegedly behind it, and why it came about. Angelica Reyes, 47, allegedly agreed to pay Rodriguez $100 for the cell phone because it contained proof of her infidelities, authorities said in the news release. Authorities said Rodriguez's sister, Jade Yorinda, 21, got involved in the scheme after her brother and Mexias were arrested. She allegedly, that's a three-way split now. She allegedly called Reyes to demand the $100 Reyes owed Rodriguez, and Reyes ultimately paid Yorinda the $100, authorities said. Authorities arrested both women. They faced charges of aggravated robbery and engaging in organized crime. It's $100. That's a hell of a charge to catch. Officials said Reyes was being held at the Cameron County Jail. Information about Yorinda's status was not available from jail online records. There you have it, kids. Angelica Reyes. Me personally, if I was that guy, I wasn't going to say anything until you tried to stick me up. Now I'm going to show all my friends you're going to be a star, baby. Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Riley on the Beat. Shout out to Riley on the Beat. Get your music from Riley on the Beat. I'll leave the contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or DM me on any of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe, follow me wherever you're listening, follow me wherever you're watching. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. Infidelity is a complete loss of respect for your relationship and the commitment you made to another person. Cheating is only a symptom of infidelity. If you're already cheating, that means the relationship has been circling the drain for a while now. So my question is, why would you care if some footage of you seen the light of day? What was so freaky that you had to go to extreme lengths to make sure it doesn't come out, that it doesn't, ugh. July 9th, 2024, Halfcast 547, episode 547. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Pastor allegedly assaulted wife on Alaskan Airlines flight after she was upgraded to first class, and he wasn't. At the very least, you were supposed to be happy for your wife. Hell, that was a perfect opportunity for you to take a real world scenario and fit it into one of your sermons for Sunday about humbly taking the lowest position at the table and being called to sit up at the top. But no, damn that, right? That talk is just for the sheep. You need to be wined and dined. A Virginia pastor is accused of assaulting his wife on an Alaskan Airlines flight after she was upgraded to first class, and he wasn't. Good for her. Who wants to sit with such a grouch anyway? Roger Allen Holmberg, 75, was arrested after touching down in Anchorage on July 2nd for allegedly hitting his 59-year-old wife, elder abuse, and he's the elder doing the abusing, in the head and insulting her in front of passengers, according to a criminal complaint obtained by The Independent. The couple, who were married about a year and a half ago, newlyweds, but have known each other for 2 decades. That's the problem. You're too comfortable. Have been traveling from Seattle to Alaska on ministry business. Shortly after takeoff, Holmberg allegedly stormed up to first class, where he was seated in coach, and demanded that his wife explain how she got the luxury seat. How the hell did you get the upgrade, he said, according to the complaint. It's not like they put her on a completely separate flight, and this is how you're going to carry on. This is how you're going to conduct yourself at 75 years old. The flight from Seattle to Anchorage is only a little over 3 hours long. You grab yourself a butterscotch candy and a Nutriment, you're only 3 episodes of Jag away from Alaska. The wife replied that she was a Gold Point member. You knew her for 20 years. You didn't know that? Before telling him, don't speak to me like that. You forget your station, pastor. The enraged husband then approached her again later in the flight and allegedly demanded she look at something on his phone before giving her the middle finger and skulking. He returned a 3rd time. It's only a 3-hour flight. How many times are you going to get up? And tried to hit his wife before her seatmate stepped in and blocked them, according to the complaint. However, Holmberg still appeared to strike the top of the victim's head with his hand, the complaint states. An off-duty cop sitting near Holmberg's wife then realized what was happening and threatened to arrest the pastor if he didn't stop. You got to talk to this old fool like he's a young fool. You cannot be doing that, the cop told Holmberg, before adding that if there were any further incidents, we would put him in handcuffs. Holmberg remained in his seat after that, according to the complaint. Well, that marriage is off to a shaky takeoff, pun intended. If he's doing this to her out in public like it's regular, if he's so comfortable embarrassing her like this, you can only imagine what's happening behind closed doors. Maybe she was better off just having him as a friend after all these years and an acquaintance after all this time, because clearly he forgets himself as a husband and as a member of a community organization. Upon landing around 6:41 p.m., the man was arrested by airport police, and his wife reported that he had a history of abusing her, only confirming what we already knew, including an incident where he allegedly broke her finger during a fight. She also stated that she had epilepsy and that her husband knew striking her could trigger a seizure. Damn. After being detained at the airport, Holmberg admitted he and his wife had problems, but blamed them on her. Y'all knew each other for 20 years and y'all get married to step into this? Holmberg stated his wife was disrespectful spoke to him often and had anger issues. The complaint read, the pastor claimed she had broken her own finger assaulting him and had once grabbed his genitals in the past with such force that he was in pain. Maybe that's what she likes. He acknowledged being upset on the flight because they weren't seated together. Who wants to sit next to you? But said he had merely tapped his wife on the head in passing to get her attention. He stated he was not a violent person and did not intend to hurt his wife. She could have had a seizure. The complaint read, Holmberg was charged with 1 count of simple assault. He faces up to a year in prison if convicted. Neither Holmberg nor his wife responded to a request for comment. There you have it, kids. Pastor Roger Allen Holmberg beating his way to a pulpit near you. Next up. Peeping Tom, punch cop, grab taser after getting caught taking upskirt photos at Walmart. You're punching cops and stealing tasers like you're trying to escape the biggest bank heist of the decade, but you're only a perv. Who in 2024 on Chris Brown's internet is still taking upskirt photos when there are millions, as we speak right now, there are millions of women uploading shots of their meat lockers freely and proudly. A convicted Peeping Tom was allegedly at it again, and this time he is accused of punching a cop who tried to detain him. Jail records in Dallas County, Texas show that Kevis Holland, 41, is locked up for charges including aggravated assault of peace officers, taking a weapon from an officer, and assault causing bodily injury. Cops in the local city of Irving said that at 12:31 p.m. on Monday, they got a call out to 4100 West Airport Freeway in Irving regarding an assist officer call. Police did not name the location, but this is a Walmart. Oh, Walmart, the gold standard in retail shopping experiences. It turned out that the officer needing help was one of their counterparts from Ore City. Off duty but uniform, he learned from security that Holland was taking photos up women's skirts. Police said. Back in August 2023, I called the story of Khalees Karan Crowder, another sex offender who was caught in a Burbank Barnes & Noble snipping on women's butts. There's no limit to what these people will go to get their rocks off, and I don't even think there's a real cure for it, because every time you lock them up, they come out and do the same thing. It just flares back up again like herpes. The officer tried to detain Holland. As the officer placed a handcuff on the defendant's left wrist, the defendant turned around and began striking the officer's face and head repeatedly with closed fists. Police said in a statement obtained by Law and Crime, each time the defendant struck the officer, the loose handcuff also struck him, causing a laceration to the top of the officer's scalp. The officer fell to the ground and dropped his department-issued taser. The defendant picked up the taser and pointed it at the officer, which placed him in fear of serious bodily injury or death due to the potential of the defendant incapacitating him with the taser and taking his firearm. Absolutely. Security cameras recorded the assault. Police said as the officer gave chase, Holland fled out into the parking lot and escaped in a gray Dodge Ram. Police said. Officers said they used the license plate number to determine it was registered to Holland. That man fought his ass off and slipped out of there like this was a real mission. The Ethan Hunt of pervert pictures, living the creep another day. The defendant was charged with similar Peeping Tom crimes before. Gee, what a shock. Either they stay the same, they get worse, or they die, but they never stop. He pleaded guilty in 2017 to taking phone video up the skirts of 2 separate women in March and April of that year, according to NBC Dallas Fort Worth affiliate KXAS and Fox Dallas affiliate KDFW. He had reportedly been out on parole on a 20-year prison sentence for a 2002 guilty plea for aggravated robbery. So what, taking upskirt photos is like the Nicorette for aggravated robbery? That's how you dial your life down? Circle back to 2024. Holland is in trouble again. Cops showed up to serve a warrant at his home, though it turned out he was not there. They had normal clothes on, but they had guns and like vests on and everything. Neighbor Omar Ayala told KDFW, and they were yelling from the microphone saying, "Come out, come out." Holland ultimately turned himself in on Tuesday and is being held in a $152,000 bond. There you have it, kids. Kevis Holland. This is a tough one because I truly believe women should be able to wear skirts and dresses without having these type of problems. Maybe you should put a sign under there that says no photography, or better yet, put a mirror so whenever he goes to take a picture, he gets a photo of his own face. Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode was provided by D-Rock from Drunk Products. Thanks, cousin. Get your music from D-Rock over at Drunk Products. I'll leave his contact information down at the bottom. If you're a producer, if you would like your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.1 watchaeor.com or any of my social media profiles. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe, follow me wherever you're listening, follow me wherever you're watching. If you would like to leave a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. You were supposed to be happy for her. Hell, that was the perfect opportunity to fit that story into one of your sermons about humbly sitting yourself at the lowest seat at the table until your host recognizes you and you're invited to come sit up top. But damn all that, huh? That's just for the sheep. July 1st, 2024, Halfcast 545, episode 545. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Woman says she hadn't had enough to drink after telling Georgia deputy he was cute. Finally, an officer that didn't compromise his job by thinking with his nightstick he didn't record any OnlyFans, he didn't accidentally lock himself in the back seat of his cruiser with a detainee. You know, this opens up a whole lot of doors for you. You can actually date this woman outside of your job and not have to worry about catching a charge or losing your badge. It's funny how life works, isn't it? A Georgia woman faces charges after a compliment led to her arrest. This has to be the first woman in history that's ever went to jail for shooting her shot. Last weekend, a Bibb County deputy was sitting in his patrol vehicle when a driver identified as Anisha Bryan told him he's cute with slurred speech. According to the report, the deputy walked over to Bryan's car window and noticed an open liquor bottle inside the car. Wait a minute, you mean to tell me she wasn't even pulled over for a traffic stop and she volunteered that information to you? This woman's a keeper. She's definitely worth using police resources to keep in touch with. The sheriff's office said when the deputy asked how much she had to drink, she said not enough. Oh, she's honest too. This could be the start of something beautiful. Bibb County deputies learned Bryan had a warrant out of Clayton, that has to be a typo, Clayton County, for failure to appear on a traffic charge. Georgia State Patrol conducted a sobriety check. Bryan was then arrested for the warrant and driving under the influence. There you have it, kids. Anisha Bryan, just because she had one, two, maybe two drinks sometimes, was she an alcoholic now? Next up. Wisconsin man bought $6,000 worth of cleaning supplies just after wife disappeared. If you follow true crime or any type of procedural programming, then you already know the spouse is always the number one suspect when something happens to the other spouse, especially if they were estranged or the marriage is on the rocks. And let's be honest with each other, $6,000 in 1 week on only cleaning supplies is a lot for an entire cleaning company, let alone one person. A Wisconsin man has been charged with identity theft after allegedly using his wife's credit cards to buy $6,000 worth of cleaning supplies just a week after her family reported her missing. Cops questioned Zachariah Rash, 42, after he ran up a huge tab on estranged wife Crystal's dime and bought a suspicious amount of supplies that included stain remover, liquid drain opener, chemical-resistant gloves, a vacuum, air fresheners, wipes, and carpet cleaner, according to The Independent. Did he clean that much when they were actually together? The shopping spree came as his wife Crystal, who was getting ready to divorce Rash, had been missing since at least June 10th, according to her family. At first, Rash lied to the interrogating cops and said he never used his soon-to-be ex's credit cards, according to a criminal complaint obtained by WISN2 in Milwaukee. This reminds me of Brian and Anna Walsh, the Boston area couple, if I'm not mistaken, but Brian claimed up and down that his wife was missing all the way up until they found a knife and blood inside his home. He had dismembered her. So if I'm an investigator, a $6,000 purchase on cleaning supplies would really itch me. It would really bite at me, because what are you going to try to do? Are you going to try to clean something up? Are you going to try to hide something? Think about this. Someone would only go to extreme lengths to cover something up or to hide something if they had to remain in the immediate vicinity of whatever they was trying to hide or cover up. Then he was shown security footage and photos of himself as he made the buys, and that's when he admitted he had lied. The Independent said, "It doesn't look good for you, buddy." Crystal was reported missing on June 23rd by her stepmom, who called the cops when she couldn't get in touch with her. She had also found Crystal's car, which is now undergoing a forensic analysis at the state crime lab at her Dodge County home. The outlet said the couple had been scheduled for a divorce hearing August 8th. Everything is extremely close together. Rash was alone when he made the buys, according to security footage obtained by investigators. He also used their cards to make several cash withdrawals. I sincerely hope they find this woman. If they can't find her alive, then I hope they find her for some closure. But this guy right here, he reeks of whatever's going on. If he's not involved in any of whatever happened involving her disappearance, this would be the biggest set of coincidences in history. The estranged husband had a lengthy history of harassing his wife, according to WISN. Last September, Rash was hit with a restraining order. You know how I feel about restraining orders. If someone doesn't respect boundaries, they're not going to respect a court order or a piece of paper. Because of domestic abuse, The Independent said he'd also been charged with violating another restraining order back in November 2018. His wife's cell phone pinged in Adams County, where Rash owns land. Cops said it had significant evidentiary value. I would also like to add for this that even if you have an estranged spouse, it doesn't matter if you're not together anymore. That doesn't change a person's daily habits. They still know where you like to shop. They still know where you like to eat, where you like to hang out at. They still know your work schedule. They know everything about your daily life. Next up. Woman allegedly beat man to death over unpaid sex on New York City street. If it was ever a more fitting place for this to happen. New York City, I want to wake up to a hooker that's homicidal, or however the song goes. You know you have to be a cold-blooded bastard to try to dine and dash on a prostitute after she's giving you the old Uchi-Wally, that she has to maintain eye contact to make sure you don't break off as soon as she's giving you the old up-down. There's really no more chivalry left out here in these streets. Tip your waitresses and pay your prostitutes. It's part of being a man. A woman is accused of beating a man to death after he refused to pay her for performing a sex act on him on a Manhattan street Tuesday, according to the NYPD and sources. New York Daily News said she beat him to death with a table leg. Sabrina Charles, 39, allegedly beat the unidentified man with a piece of wooden furniture in front of 19 Hancock Place near 125th Street in Harlem at 4:25 p.m. That's broad daylight, police and sources said. I guess she wanted to get paid more than he didn't want to pay her, and Darwin's argument wins out again. You know, at 39 years old, that coochie's seen enough presidents to know that you get paid up front. Don't let someone backdoor you after they've backdoored you. Charles allegedly hit the victim over the head repeatedly after she performed a sex act on him between two parked cars. Sources said, and you thought he had money? Charles claimed the victim raped her before the fatal attack. Sources said she was taken to the hospital for examination. Police said the woman and the victim, who knew each other as always your buddies looking for a freebie, were allegedly doing drugs together at the time of the incident. Oh, there it goes. If you're on drugs, people are going to automatically assume that you like to get paid with drugs. Drugs are accepted in more places than Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. You didn't discuss terms, sweetheart. Charles, a Manhattan resident, was arrested and charged with murder, criminal possession of a weapon, a table leg, and criminal possession of stolen property. Authorities said Charles has prior arrests for drug possession and prostitution. Police said her arraignment was pending on Wednesday. Today. There you have it, kids. Sabrina Charles, stay in school. Fun show, fun show, fun show. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me at www.watchaeor.com or any of my social media profiles. I'll leave all that information up for you. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe wherever you're listening, subscribe wherever you're watching. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. New York City, I want to wake up to a hooker that's homicidal, or however the song goes. You gotta be a cold-blooded bastard to try to dine and dash on a prostitute after she's giving you the old Uchi Wally, that she has to keep giving you the side eye back there to make sure you're not gonna break out after she's giving you the old up and down. There's really no more chivalry in these streets. Tip your waitresses and pay your prostitutes. It's part of being a man. June 18th, 2024, Pathcast 542, episode 542. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Man using walker steals $11,000 worth of cigarettes from Walgreens.
Wilmington, Delaware are searching for a bandit who made off with a significant amount of cigarettes while using a walker. Take a look at these surveillance pictures. Authorities say the man snuck behind the counter of a Walgreens there on New Linden Hill Road last Thursday and stole more than $11,000 worth of cigarettes. An employee on the job at the time was preoccupied with another section of the store. If you recognize this man, please call police.
The average cost for a pack of cigarettes in Delaware is $5.50. That's $55 a carton. $11,000 translates to 200 cartons of cigarettes. How do you let a man in a stroller rob you for 2,000 packs of cigarettes? Oh, it is indeed a dark day for Walgreens. All you had to do was put a can of Nutrament under his wheels. A man using a walker is accused of stealing more than $11,000 worth of cigarettes from a Walgreens store last week. Authorities said, according to a Facebook post by the Delaware State Police. Delaware, also known as South Jersey or North Maryland. The thief took the smokes from the store located on New Linden Road in Wilmington on June 13th. Authorities calculated the loss at $11,000. Yes, you read that right. $11,000 worth of smokes, police wrote. Surveillance video from the store showed the suspect dressed in a red t-shirt and pants, very inconspicuous, using a walker to navigate the store. There was a red bag attached to his walker, according to the video. Nothing that anybody would remember seeing. According to state police, an employee was in a different section of the store. There's something to that I'll tell you in a second, that allowed the alleged shoplifter to go behind the counter and grab the cigarettes. Police said he apparently packed them away in the bag and the walker before making his getaway. Your cashier should never be that far from the register. Any assignments you have for your cashier should be in the immediate vicinity of the register, unless they have to go to the bathroom or they have to take a break, something simple like that. I would love to know how many employees were in the store when this happened. I bet you it was less than 3. This just opens the door for people to try stuff like this. Now your boy is in Jersey selling those cigarettes for $10 a pack. He's going to put some rims on his walker and go shopping for some smoking hoes. The state police released screen grabs from the surveillance video asking the public for assistance. Statistics are unclear as to how much a carton of cigarettes cost in Delaware. I use BalancingEverything.com. 2024 state prices is $5.50 a pack on average. Various sources place it at $55, although other sources show that a 10-pack carton could cost as much as $78 depending on the location. That translates to about 141 cartons. If one takes the low number, that means the alleged thief would have to smuggle approximately 200 cartons or its equivalent if the state police estimates are correct. It was unclear from the video how long it took the alleged thief to walk away with the cigarettes, how many trips he had to make to steal that many, or whether he had an accomplice who would have distracted the employee. What are you trying to tell us here? That this was some well thought out scheme by a chain smoking mastermind and his henchmen? He's dying. Or even funnier, what if they went to chase him out the store and he ditched the walker and ran like a 4-4? The walker the alleged thief was pushing also appeared to have a compartment. They tricked it out like a bond car under its seat that was capable of stacking cigarette cartons, although it was unclear how many could be piled on. It's like the Italian Job. An investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information can contact the state police. Your tip could be the match that lights up this case. Police wrote on Facebook. Yeah, there you have it, kids. Some guy somewhere in crappy Delaware is sitting on a mountain of cigarettes, smoking his lungs off like the Scarface of tobacco. Next up, bumbling drug dealer's smuggling plan blows up after stashing meth, fentanyl, and grenades, and he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. The game is ever changing as law enforcement gets smarter. People are always searching for different ways to smuggle drugs. People smuggle drugs in soup cans, electric wheelchair tires, stomachs and or rectums, body parts, kids' toys, cakes. They've iced them over and put the packaging back on. You could not tell the difference. But one thing nobody has ever said is, hey, let's hide all these drugs inside of explosives. They'll never be able to tell the difference. Let's put it all in ordnance. They'll wave it right on through. You gotta be kidding me. His drug smuggling scheme really blew up in his face. A South Carolina drug dealer South Carolina, I see they've nabbed one of your brightest, was sentenced to 18 years in prison this week after he was caught trying to move meth and fentanyl inside hollowed out grenades last spring. Corey Gerald Bell, 36, was stopped in May 2023 by a Greenwood County Sheriff's deputy who noticed Bell had a broken tail light, according to WYFF in Greenville. There are a ton of stories out there where minor traffic stops turn into larger busts. If you're a drug dealer at any level, why aren't you taking just a small portion of that money to make sure your license, insurance, registration is right, that your car's in working order? Most of the stuff y'all get pulled over for can be found in your local AutoZone. Even better, you could pay a fiend $20 to fix your tail light. You get caught with 166 grams. Now the street value of all those drugs is 18 years in prison. The deputy searched the car after catching a whiff of marijuana. This guy is a complete and total idiot through and through, not giving himself any fighting chances. Where the deputy might have been okay with giving him a ticket for the tail light, the marijuana really gives the deputy a chance to get all up in your business, which is still illegal in the Palmetto State. 8th Circuit Solicitor David M. Stumbo said in a news release. That's when the officer stumbled upon a bag containing 166 grams of meth, cha-ching, as well as fentanyl pills that were packed away inside hollowed out grenades. Stumbo said, according to the network. Bell pleaded guilty this week to trafficking methamphetamine and possession with intent to distribute fentanyl. Stumbo said on Monday a circuit judge sentenced him to 18 years in prison, made an example out of his ass for the May 18th arrest. We will continue to make it clear to the local peddlers of these deadly substances that they will pay a high price for choosing to make a living off the misery of addicts, Stumbo said. There you have it, kids. Corey Gerald Bell. Maybe after these 18 years, he'll figure out a better way to go at trafficking. Next up, I will never be able to forgive her. Firefighter's wife learns her fate for telling boyfriend to murder husband so she could receive benefits. Aside from looking like the Wicked Witch, the title tells you everything you need to know. So she could receive benefits. There was never any place for you in this part of the story. She was going to use you to get rid of the husband. You were an instrument, a tool, and at the end of it all, you were going to go to jail and she was going to live off of his benefits with her hands free of any blood. An Indiana woman will spend the rest of her life behind bars for telling her lover to kill her longtime firefighter husband. Elizabeth Fox Dorr, 52, was found guilty by a jury of murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the death of 51-year-old Robert Dorr. Indiana court records show Evansville police determined that she told her lover, Larry Richmond, dumbass Larry, when her husband would be home from the fire station. The slain firefighter was found dead in his driveway on February 26, 2019, just after 7 p.m. Police say Richmond shot Dorr at least 3 times as the firefighter exited his truck after working a 12-hour shift, according to probable cause affidavits obtained by the Courier and Press. My impression right off the bat, you're dealing with a man who has nothing of any value in his life. He has no motion in his life. For him to lay up with another hard-working man's filthy woman and even entertain this type of proposal, me personally, I would have left her immediately, reached out to the husband. Hey, it doesn't matter who I am. Just watch your back. Your wife is trying to take you out. On Monday, a judge sentenced her to 90 years in prison, 60 years for aiding murder, and 30 years for conspiracy to commit murder. Friends and family of both Dorr and Fox Dorr packed the courtroom for the sentencing. Local reports said Fox Dorr's own son testified against her and advocated for his stepfather, Dorr. I will never be able to forgive her for being the reason that my siblings and I have lost the family we grew up with, Nathan Guthrie said. That's messed up. But her other son spoke on his mother's behalf, saying she forged goodness into him and would not order a murder. You pussy ass mama's boy. Everything she taught me made me the man I am today. You're an idiot. Her son Taylor Barrett said. Fellow firefighter Larry Wilt said Dorr's death was a day that turned a lot of people's lives upside down. I lost my best friend, my fishing partner, my bowling partner, he said. Firefighters are the heroes, pillars of the community, and run into a burning building, risk their life to save someone else. That's why it's especially foul for him to go out in such a way. 28 years of service, and he's taken out by his wife, laid up with some dirty bum. Richmond is accused of fatally shooting Dorr's stunt dummy ass and is currently awaiting trial. Fox Dorr, who dialed 911 that night, was originally charged with obstruction of justice and false informing for allegedly deleting a phone call record before calling authorities. Those charges were eventually dropped in October 2019. In July 2022, Fox Dorr was charged again, that time with perjury, and she has been detained since her arrest, according to local ABC affiliate WEHT. Prosecutors said the initial charges against the widow were dropped at the request of police to make sure trial did not interfere with the murder investigation. Oh, they were on to her. Authorities charged Fox Dorr with murder in August 2022. Despite the verdict, Fox Dorr maintained her innocence. I never asked anyone to murder my husband. My world came crashing down on the night of February 26, 2019. I was in shock, devastated, lost, and I have never been the same, she said at the sentencing. It reads like crocodile tears. Of course she's going to maintain her innocence. She's facing damn near a century in prison, and she's already starting to look like a skeleton. She's the common denominator in all this. Richmond would have never known who her husband even was had it not been for her. And I don't know how much a divorce would have got her since she was so damn unhappy, but I'm positive it wouldn't have got her 90 years. Guthrie told jurors Dorr was like a father to him. It's been 5 long years and finally justice has been served. Not yet. He's still got to get the stunt dummy. He told the Courier and Press after the verdict, Dad can finally finally rest. He can finally sleep. He can finally be put to rest. Fox Door's defense attorney vehemently denied his client had anything to do with the victim's murder. He said the state never proved that Fox Door told Richmond to kill her husband. Well, he's a defense attorney. He has to earn his money. It felt like I just listened to a screenplay for a crime novel that was based in fiction, attorney Mark Phillips said during his closing argument. According to the Courier and Press, the state of Indiana, through its prosecutor, wants you to speculate, but Vanderburgh County prosecutor Diana Moores said the evidence was clear. Not only did the phone logs show she spoke to Richmond before the murder, but there was also motive to kill her husband because she wanted to receive 75% of Door's firefighter pension for life, along with a $12,000 death benefit. Without the defendant in this case, Larry Richmond would have no reason to murder Door. Exactly, Moore said, the Courier and Press reported. Does Richmond really think he had a place with this woman after these checks started rolling in? There's no scenario I see where he walks away from this. I even see where she might even turn his ass in if it meant her walking away scot-free. According to a probable cause affidavit, the male defendant's son told police in 2019 that his father sent him and his mother letters, one of which said, according to a police account, if the gun he stole ever pops up, they will be trying to charge him with murder or accessory to murder. Why would you even have that on paper? Richmond was arrested less than a month after the shooting due to his son's tip. Police found a box of guns with serial numbers removed and buried in Richmond's backyard. A felony offender released from prison in March 18 after serving 22 years of a 45-year murder sentence. He was legally barred from owning any guns. He served a 60-month sentence on those gun charges and is now in Vanderburgh County Jail awaiting trial for Door's murder. It's scheduled for November. According to the affidavits, the Evansville Police Department's investigation also came to rely on the word of a jailhouse informant who said Richmond had admitted to the murder of Door on multiple occasions. If he did 22 years out of a 45-year sentence last time, whatever they smack him with this time, they're going to have to revive him with the Dragon Balls for him to finish his whole sentence. If nothing else, if you learn nothing else in those 20 plus years in prison, you should have at least noticed that you don't want to go back to jail and behaved accordingly. Police say that Fox Door eventually admitted to deleting a phone record which detailed a phone call with her co-defendant telling him when her husband would arrive home because she knew he had been in trouble before. See, she was working him the whole time, and then she doesn't even look all that good and did not want investigators to think the duo had been carrying on romantically. One of the affidavits obtained by WEHT alleges cops say the phone call in question occurred between 6:46 p.m. and 6:51 p.m. The first 911 call was made at 7:05 p.m. Her husband worked at the Evansville Fire Department for 28 years, his obituary said. There you have it, kids. Elizabeth Fox Door and Larry Richmond Sr. There are no winners in this story. That man worked his ass off for 28 years, and all his wife could think of at the end of it all was what she would get if he was out of the picture. Fun show, fun show, fun show. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe, follow me wherever you're listening, subscribe, follow me wherever you're watching, subscribe to my website, www.watchaeor.com. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. Aside from her looking like the Wicked Witch of Indiana, the title tells you everything you need to know. So she could receive benefits. There was no we in this. There was never any place at the end of the story for this guy. He was a bozo, an instrument, a tool. The game is ever changing. As law enforcement gets smarter, people are always searching for different ways to smuggle drugs. People have smuggled drugs inside soup cans, electric wheelchair tires, stomachs and or rectums, kids' toys, teddy bears. They put May 29th, 2024, Halfcast 537, episode 537. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? San Diego police officer Anthony Hare, they put his name in the headline. That is hilarious. Resigns after locking himself in backseat with female detainee. Are you single? Welcome to the limit. Riding around with a badge and a heart on, looking to smash some filthy broad in the back of your cruiser where a junkie just defecated an hour ago. Truly reaching your aspirations as a police officer, the world is yours. A San Diego police officer has resigned after he was caught locked in the backseat of his squad car with a female detainee who propositioned him for sex last year. Newly released body cam footage show. How do you even explain that? Officer Anthony Hare left this post about a month after a probe was launched into the August 2023 incident, and one day before he was to meet with investigators for a second scheduled interview. You knew you were going to get fired. Hare, who had been with SDPD for 2 years, found himself in a vehicle with the female suspect after he arrested her on suspicion of stealing a car outside of a convenience store, according to CBS 8. The suspect, who has not been named, was one of 2 people wanted for car theft. She also had a bench warrant out for her arrest. You sure know how to pick them, buddy. After Hare arrested her, he was supposed to bring her to police headquarters and later to the Las Colinas Detention Center in Santee, California for questioning. What's puzzling to me is the back of cop cars are made to restrict your motion. They're made so you can't do a whole lot of moving around back there. What could you possibly do? Even if you're only getting toppy, it would be such a task. It wouldn't even be pleasurable. Then his dumbass didn't even put a boot in the door, didn't stop the door with a handcuff, didn't even put a sock on the doorknob. Now you got to call one of your buddies to come get you out. In body cam footage released by the SDPD, the suspect was heard propositioning the officer for sex after asking him if he was married. You're not too bad. Why, thank you. What's it gonna hurt me if I work the system? You know what I mean? That's the way I see expletive. She told Hare she's telling you to your face that she's gonna do whatever she needs to do to get out, and she doesn't care if you lose your job afterward. Are you single? She added, to which he responded, yeah, but you're not. How would he know? I'm down to expletive right now. She told him before he interrupts, don't say that right now, don't say that right now, because everything's being recorded right now. As the pair approached the detention center, Hare can be heard asking the female suspect what she was doing in the back seat, so I guess he had to go back there to find out. He turned off his body cam and slowed his vehicle as he drove onto a residential street, the outlet added. About 20 minutes later, Hare called for a fellow officer to come help him out of the police car over the embarrassing mishap. For the very nature of what she's offering up here, why would she care if he's married or not? Why would she even ask? Was she's concerned with corrupting a good man? And that conversation was extremely casual. How would he know if she had a boyfriend or not? Maybe she's been bouncing from police officer to police officer, doing these type of things for favors for them to look the other way. I asked him if he was okay. Yeah, he's fine now. He's loose as a noodle. He said yes, and then asked if I had my patrol car key with me. I asked why he was asking and what did he need. The unidentified officer said of Hare, describing him as panicked. Officer Hare then asked me if I could go meet him. I asked him his location and he said near Cottonwood. I asked him why he needed me. Just come on, man, hurry up, come get me out of here. And he said he would tell me when I got there. He said he was really embarrassed. Investigators reported that Hare believed the woman was suffering from a medical emergency. According to NBC San Diego, Hare and the woman denied anything untoward happened. As the officer claimed, he was was checking on the suspect in the back. That's a hell of a word for it. You know, as soon as that other cop pulled up and seen that girl in the back seat, he knew exactly what was going on. And he's not like this other officer. His body cam is on and functioning. He's going to cover his ass because this is a career defining situation. When I was waking her up, that's when I noticed that this door closed on me. That's when I was trying to kind of open the door, hair set in a clip. Come on, it's just a police cruiser. It's only the back seat of a car. It's not like it's some fun house with a trap door. San Diego police found traces of semen on Hare's belt, CBS reported. He wanted to get with me when I was done with the warrant or whatever I got arrested for, she said, which is way better, which would make way more sense than trying to hit it in the back seat of your cruiser, back seat of my Jeep. It's unclear if he faces any criminal charges over the ordeal. The Post has reached out to the San Diego Police Department for comment. There you have it, kids. Anthony Hare, the textbook definition of folding under minimal or no pressure. Next up, Kansas City, Kansas police officer who appeared high while on duty loses police license.
The police, they showed up intoxicated. I kid you not. Let me just go to the video.
I am not talking to you. Hey, can I get a sergeant? We can't find anybody. I want a sergeant. I want a sergeant. Because I want a sergeant to see him. I want a sergeant to see him. You know for a fact this man is under the influence of something.
I have a party here requested for a sergeant.
You know he's under the influence of something. Okay. Hey, if I held my finger up and told you to follow my finger, could you do it?
Was all engaged on canvas?
You're high.
When someone says high, my initial thought is marijuana, unless they specify that the person was licking toad backs or something. But it's 2024. High could easily mean that he was doing rails of Sinaloa blow off his nightstick while on patrol, like the Tony Montana of policedom. A Kansas City, Kansas police officer who appeared high while responding to a call last year has lost his state police certification. James Shepard started with the Kansas City, Kansas police. You don't have to keep saying Kansas. We know now. Police Department in January 2018. According to court documents filed in a federal lawsuit in October, Shepard responded to a child custody dispute in January 2023. Shepard appeared to be under the influence of some type of substance as he had to lean on the wall for support, was speaking so fast that plaintiffs could hardly understand him. His face was flush. He was blinking his eyes at an unusual frequency, slurring his words, and just generally acting strange, the lawsuit alleged. Yep, sounds like Jimmy was lit up all right, like he was playing around in the evidence locker. I'm glad they gave him something kindergarten, like a child custody dispute, and not that armed bank robbery or that hostage situation going on across town. The last thing we need is Jimbo tweaking his way into a shootout. A video of the encounter was posted on social media, and it does not disappoint. I'll leave the whole thing on my website, www.watchaeor.com. Shameless plug. Criminal charges were declined and the lawsuit was dismissed in January. He said, you brought a high cop to my house. The Kansas Commission on Peace Officers Standards and Trainings, or CPOS, which certifies officers in the state, received a complaint about Shepard, which included the recording. The commission arranged an interview with Shepard to determine if any prescription drugs impaired his ability as a police officer. They're giving him a fair shake. Shepard's attorney then told the commission he would not be attending the interview. According to CPOS documents, the commission can withdraw an officer's license if they do not cooperate with an investigation. Shepard's certification was revoked May 9th, records show. What the hell was he thinking? That he was only a little buzzed, that he could power his way through a shift? There was no way he should have went to work. He should have took that write-up or took that suspension, whatever jaw-jacking his boss had for him afterwards, but there was no way he was supposed to show up to work like that. If I was his partner, I wouldn't even want to ride around in a car with him. Nikki Richardson, co-founder of Justice for Wyandotte, said the organization was aware of the January 2023 incident. The only way you could not be aware is if your head was buried in the sand somewhere. He was toe up. Justice for Wyandotte has continued to affirm that KCKPD should continually be held accountable, especially at any point in time where a law enforcement officer isn't fit to police, she said. Richardson said she believed the revocation by CPOS was the appropriate response. I would hate for the police officer to leave here and go somewhere else and equally do damage. We've been hearing about that a lot. She said the Kansas Kansas City, Kansas Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I like that energy from C-Post. Hurried up and snatched his license real quick before he had a chance to resign and possibly line up another spot at another precinct somewhere. There's one of these post agencies in every state of the country. Why aren't we hearing more from them? But there you have it, kids. James Shepard. Next time you do your drugs, stay the hell home. Fun show, fun show, fun show. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe, follow me wherever you're listening, subscribe, follow me wherever you're watching, subscribe to my website, www.watchaeor.com. I'm adding new and old content to it every day. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. Guy could easily mean that this guy was doing Sinaloa cocaine off his nightstick, doing rails of Sinaloa cocaine off his nightstick while on patrol.
Yep. You know how the officers at the precinct knew he was high? When he actually gave them the badge number. Because cops don't do that when they sober.
Oh, that damn Jimmy sounds like he was lit up, like he was playing around in the evidence locker. I'm glad they gave him something kindergarten, like a child custody dispute, and not that bank robbery or that hostage situation that was happening on the other side of town. May 21st, 2024, Halfcast 535, episode 535. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? New York City liquor shop owner arrested for accidentally shooting crook he was pistol whipping. Oops, it slipped. Oh well, what are you implying here? That maybe, just maybe, he should have flat out shot him and skipped the niceties of giving him a polite pistol whipping? I mean, if it's all going to be the same trouble, why not get straight to the point? A liquor store owner is facing charges after he accidentally shot a robber he was pistol whipping during a wild brawl inside his Queens store, police said Tuesday. Francisco Valerio, 53, was arrested for reckless endangerment for allegedly firing off a round during his struggle with two crooks inside Frangel Wines and Liquors in Ridgewood at about 7:45 p.m. Monday. We heard a bang. We weren't sure if it was a gunshot. It was a gunshot, but then a lot of people showed up, said Pawan Koti, who lives in a 4th-floor apartment above the liquor store. Within moments, ambulances had shown up to cart the wounded robber off, the 33-year-old tenant said. What is he supposed to be, apologetic for shooting this thieving bastard? This isn't like what they're doing with the Walgreens and the Rite Aids all across the country, where they're allowing people to come in with garbage bags and clear inventory off the shelves. This is one person's individual store. This is his liquor store. This is his bread and butter. This is how he feeds his family. We saw one person handcuffed and one in the ambulance. Scotty said they look young and apparently dumb too. The store owner, who has a valid license for the pistol, was fighting off the robbers when he struck one of them with the gun inside the store on Wyckoff Ave near Putnam Ave. A police source said a shot went off, hitting one of the crooks in the stomach. The conflict began a few minutes earlier when Edwin Poquiza and Kevin Politazzi, both 20, they're not old enough to be buying liquor, entered the store and tried to swipe some liquor bottles, cops said. Valerio stopped them and booted them out of the store, cops said, so he was being civil the first time when he told them to get the hell out. But the duo returned a few minutes later and allegedly attacked Valerio. The guy punched him. Valerio's wife told the Daily News Tuesday the store owner grabbed his pistol as he fought the two men off and errantly fired a shot, striking Politazzi in the stomach, cops said. The wounded Politazzi was arrested at the scene along with Valerio. Poquiza ran off but was nabbed about a block away. How about that? Dude leaving his homeboy for dead in an attempt to save his own bacon. Be careful who you do your dirt with, kids. But what I'm really not understanding is why arrest the shop owner like he was one of the people who tried to rob the store. It's clear what happened. He shot one of these punks in an attempt to protect his own property. At the very least, they should say, hey, we're not going to arrest you, but we still need to see you down at the precinct. You need to fill out paperwork. We need to see your face, and you'll get a chance to tell the judge your side of the story in court, but we're not going to arrest you. Medics took Politazzi to Elmhurst Hospital Center, where he is expected to recover. Cops charged the two accused crooks with robbery, assault, and menacing. It's New York City. They'll probably get a no bail and be out on the streets doing the same thing the next day. Valerio was not hurt in the struggle. His brother Francisco said he's okay. Nothing happened to him. Francisco explained, fretting over the criminal charges filed against his sibling. My brother is an honest man, and I don't know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. The guy you shot is going to sue you. When you are in a situation like that, when it happens to your family, it's hard and you don't know the outcome. He added, this city is crazy. That it is. The superintendent for the building the liquor store is in didn't think Valerio should have been arrested. I don't know why they want to press charges. They robbed him and then went back a second time to beat the guy up, said Jimmy Rampal, 65. A customer agreed, saying Valerio was just defending himself. They'll come back when they're 21. They won't have to steal any booze. They'll be able to buy the liquor, and they'll all look at this as just one big misunderstanding and have a good, heartfelt laugh. Good times. It cannot be a reckless charge. If you come into my store and provoke me, how can it be reckless? Asked Basil Douglas. If you come into my place and try to do harm to me, what should I do? Just let them steal. And when they get away with that, they'll come back with their buddies and clean your whole inventory out. That's what they want you to do. All three men were awaiting arraignment in Queens Criminal Court Tuesday. There you have it, kids. Francisco Valerio. What are your thoughts? Do you think he should have been arrested? Next up. Scranton clown who performs as the amazing Franco. That's not creepy at all. Charged with promoting prostitution. What could possibly be wrong with someone who performs as a circus clown, walking your streets, offering sex for money? People are so judgmental. Have you seen this economy? You gotta have a side hustle nowadays. Hell, even John Wayne Gacy worked construction. A Scranton man who told police he performs as a professional clown faces charges after meeting an undercover officer for sex, while Carbondale police officers Robert Williams and Jesse Pruitt were conducting an undercover investigation into prostitutes in the area Saturday around 9:30 p.m. They discovered a posting for a male identified as Francis Bowie who advertised himself in a sexually explicit manner. Was he wearing the nose? And listed a phone number to be contacted for appointments on the escort section of a local website, according to a criminal complaint. Police contacted Bowie via a text message, and he agreed to perform sexual acts for $100 an hour at a hotel in the city. Per the complaint, of all the stories I've caught where people go to meet total strangers to have sex and things end up going terribly wrong, just the thought of meeting someone who performs as a circus clown is terrifying. But I think it's ingrained in people's psyche that they seek out the thrill of not knowing if they're going to meet a complete and total psycho. And if he's making such postings in confidence like this, there had to be a few takers out there in Debauchery, Pennsylvania. The undercover officer met Bowie at the disclosed location where he was detained. Police said all he was wearing was a pair of 35-inch shoes. Bowie told police it was the first time he offered prostitution services and he knew it was wrong. According to the complaint, I doubt that was his first time. He also told officers he performs as the Amazing Franco and just got back from traveling with the circus. Police said, who's to say he wasn't doing this in different cities if he's traveling like this? Bowie told police money was running low, so he was prostituting to supplement his income. Per the complaint, he also admitted to agreeing to meet for sex for money. Police said police charged Bowie, 28, 1023 River Street, with promoting prostitution. Bail and preliminary hearing information was unavailable Monday. There you have it, kids. The Amazing Franco. Do not sniff his flower. Fun show, fun show, fun show. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like my podcast, subscribe. Follow me wherever you're listening. Subscribe. Follow me wherever you're watching. Subscribe to my website, www.watchaeor.com. I'm adding new and old content to it every day. If you would like to make a donation, my Cash App, my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, all that info is up on the website, www.watchaeor.com. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. A Scranton man who told police he performs as a professional clown faces charges after meeting an undercover officer. Yep. But was Dunder Mifflin not hiring? Police contacted Bowie via a text message and he agreed to perform sexual acts for about... What is it? Because he's a clown, he's not allowed to have a second job? Have you seen this economy? Hell, even John Wayne Gacy had a construction job.